Hey everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight. I am Peter, that is Tim. We talk about horror movies on this show, and in this episode, we are visiting a classic, because this is a well-respected film. This is from 1977. It is Dario Argento's Suspiria. So we're going to talk about that. We'll start spoiler-free, as we always do. We'll give you warning in the middle before we go into spoilers. And of course, the reason why we're doing this is because we do plan on doing the remake very, very soon. So here we go. So Suspiria. This is the second or third Argento movie I think we've done.
Wait, what else have we done? Well, we did Tenebrae a few.
That was last year. Yeah, that was one of the Patreon vote winners. And I think if you go really far back, we didn't do the Stend Hill Syndrome. No, we didn't do that. For some reason, I thought we did. Maybe Tenebrae was the first one.
Yeah, if we did anything else, we would. Well, did we do Phenomena? I don't know.
No, we didn't.
Oh, all right.
I'm sure you've been pushing for it for years, but no, we haven't done that yet.
I love it.
Oh, I know you did.
Yeah, I mean, well, at some point we should probably do that. Deep Red. I've actually never seen this. I don't even know how to say it. Sten something syndrome, whatever you said.
Yeah, that's the one where his daughter's in it, and
oh yeah.
It made me feel uncomfortable, the idea that he was on set directing his daughter when she's got her top off. That was really weirding me out. But
yeah. we did do Dawn of the Dead, which obviously he didn't direct, but didn't he like produce it or something?
He produced it and then he kind of recut it for Europe, or at least Italy. And that's the version that was called Zombie, which then of course led to Zombie 2, which we've never done as well. Actually, that's also on the list of things to do.
And actually, a quick question too. I don't know if you had the option, but I watched what was it, like the one with like the English intro. I don't know if you had different options on the
I didn't know. I watched the Italian. There was Italian audio, English subtitles. Is the one I watched. I don't think the film is that different though, right? Like other than
I don't think so. I mean, I'd have to watch them and compare, but I think there was like some I don't know. I would have to look at it.
Okay.
But I just got I've actually been excited to watch it because I've had this lying around for a while, but I bought they did like a big Blu-ray special edition about a year or two back. It was a steel book, it has like collector's booklet, a bunch of special features. It's like a, whatever, all the stuff they say that makes it look pretty, digital 4K, blah, 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 whatever that means. But I've been waiting to watch it for a while, and I will say the Blu-ray was very pretty. I was very happy with it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch the Blu-ray. I streamed it, but there was the new HD transfer. It looked good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bunch of Argento movies we should do. We should do Burberry Crystal Plumage. We should do Cat o' Nine Tails. There's a bunch of them, but so yeah, Suspiria. The general premise of Suspiria is that an American woman, a young woman.
Oh wait. Oh, sorry. No. I'm just thinking though. If you, you're talking about other Argento movies to do. This is kind of the start of like a quasi trilogy.
With what? What are the all two movies?
Inferno and Mother of Tears. I think he calls it. It's like his. He has like a special thing for it. It's like his Mother trilogy or Mother of Sorrows or something trilogy like that. But they're all, not like direct sequels, but all like quasi loosely related.
I never saw the last one. I did see Inferno. I didn't like Inferno that much.
Okay, it's a little slow. I do like the ending. It has been a while since I've seen it, but I remember liking the ending, but kind of being bored through the kind of middle.
Yeah. So yeah, the premise of Suspiria is that an American woman comes to Germany to join this elite dance school, and she arrives. Some weird stuff happens. There's some bizarre disappearances of some of the girls. Whether they die or disappear. And she's kind of gradually getting more sick over the course of the film, and there's a lot of bright colours and music by Goblin. That is the gist of the film.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, I don't think. Oh, well, I'll save it for later.
Okay. But there's not a whole ton of plot, I guess, in a sense. It's it's a fairly short movie. It's just over an hour and a half, maybe close to an hour 40, and it's known mainly for its visual style, for its music, for the lighting, which is very Like, it doesn't matter if it makes sense that there's green and red and pink lights, but there is, you know. In fact, I think at one point towards the end of the film, there's like a lightning flash, and it flashes red. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Argento. This isn't my favorite movie, and I mean, I don't know if this is like a hot take or anything, but yeah, I don't think like the story really isn't that great in this. Like, what makes this great is, yeah, like all the visuals. Like, it just looks, so pretty. Like, all the colors are, turned up to 11. Everything's so, bright and vibrant. And like, there actually isn't like really a ton of gore, but then when there is, it looks really cool. And of course, yeah, Goblin, the soundtrack is, very memorable and creepy and cool. So it's weird because it's not like there's a few kills in it that, are memorable, but it's not like something when you think about it that you're like, oh yeah, man, this one cool scene or this one crazy thing that happens. It is more of kind of just an experience when you think of like, oh yeah, it looks really pretty, the colors, the music, like that's kind of what you remember from it.
Yeah, the pacing and the suspenseful scenes. And I phrase that specifically because maybe this is also a hot take. I do think this movie's a bit slow in places.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
When it gets to the dance school stuff, it's just kind of like, like this could probably be doing with speeding up a little bit, or even not even that. Maybe just having more interesting plot going and more interesting characters.
Yeah, I don't think the characters are that like intriguing.
No, they're kind of blank slates almost. Yeah.
Like probably like I don't know, the most interesting person is probably like the blind man.
That's possibly true. That's possibly true. So yeah, there's a couple of interesting sequences where there is a killer, there's a suspenseful sequence, and they are done very well. But there's only like maybe 3 of them throughout the course of the film.
Which is kind of funny, cause, since it is like a horror movie, and a lot of people like it, would probably consider it like a classic and everything. But yeah, it's funny when you think about it, there isn't like a huge body count or anything.
Which is fine. It doesn't need to have a huge body count, but I think it's not my favorite Argento movie. It's probably not even in my top 3. So I don't know if that's a spicy hot take, but.
It might be. I mean, I'm okay with that. I don't. Other people might, be a little flabbergasted, but
yeah, like because for some reason this is the one you hear about first. I feel this is the Argento movie that's got the most name recognition. This is the one that comes up first.
What, people aren't always bringing up Dracula 3D. Yeah, I mean, this was like probably be like, the closest one to being considered a classic. But yeah, I think the other ones are probably more interesting. Again, I would say that this is probably the prettiest one for sure. But like when we did Tenebra, I think that actually had more of an interesting plot, and like I was more involved in that plot, and I think a little more interested in that as opposed to this again where. This I would say looks better. It's definitely prettier, which can keep you invested in that way. But story just doesn't really do much for me.
Yeah, it's prettier in terms of visual flair. If you actually think about the camera work, though, I don't necessarily think it's any better directed than Tenebra is. Because Tenebra, like, I remember lots of really fun kills with on the stairs with the sheet and the scissors, and like there's a lot of really great build in that movie. This movie has good build as well in various places, but it's a lot slower in between. The plot ultimately is about discovering, okay, what's going on at this school? There's some sort of conspiracy or something's happening here. What is it? And there's not really any big surprises as to what it is. Quite early on, there's someone mentions what it might be, and it turns out to kind of be exactly that. And the conclusion, while really well filmed, does feel very abrupt. Like it's like very quickly dealt with, and then like almost to the point where the credits start rolling almost too quickly. But I'm like, wait, what? we're done? Okay.
Yeah, that is a little surprising, and there's kind of just this like kind of weird like exposition dump, I don't know, like by Udo Kier, like towards the end of the movie, where he just kind of comes out and it's like, let me explain a whole bunch of crap.
Yeah, he does, and that's like 20 minutes before the end of the movie. That's quite late on. He just shows up and just explains tons of shit, and it's like, okay, and
Which, I mean, I can't complain. I do love me some Udo Kier. Anytime he pops up, it's fun. But yeah, it is kind of weird.
yeah, I and again, everything he says just kind of is exactly true. Well, there's no like swerve to it. There's no like reveal or anything like that makes it more interesting. It's just like, no, it's exactly that.
There's never any point where it's like a surprise or whatever.
Yeah, you're watching this for style. You're not watching this for plot. I think the plot is almost non-existent in many ways. So but that's not to say it's a bad movie. Like I don't think this is bad.
No,
I think
not at all. Yeah,
I think it's a solid watch. There's a little bit slower in some of his other films. I think but it is very pretty. I think I always remember the opening when what's her face, Susie arrives at the airport and she comes out and it's pouring of rain. It's like she's already entered hell just from the weather. And it kind of bookends that as well at the end when she comes out into rain again. Without spoiling anything, we'll just say that she instead of being like miserable that she's out in the rain, she's more kind of pleased to be in the rain at the end of the movie. So there's almost like a bookend there. But it's funny because she's came all this way to come to this school, and I don't feel you ever get a sense of like that she cares about dancing or that she like there's no passion about dancing. The dancing, you only see them dancing like in like one scene. Like it's just background noise.
Okay. I want to say stuff to you about what to expect in the remake, but yeah, I'll keep my mouth shut.
I'm expecting more dancing stuff in the remake. That's all I'll say.
If that's what you want, I think you'll be pleased.
Yeah, which I mean, there's the potential with that, of course. Having not seen the remake, is that there could be too much dancing, and it's just lots and lots of dancing, and I won't get anything out of it. But here, it feels like it's not. I'm just going
to slip you a copy of like Step Up 2 and just like label it Suspiria and just make you watch that.
I'm not saying I want dancing in my horror movies. I'm saying that this doesn't really use its location or its setting in any way. Yeah. Like, this could be any boarding school. It could be any building almost. Like, it doesn't matter. Sure, it's irrelevant. So that's what it is. So hey, so we'll give the spoiler warning, I think, just so we could talk a bit more freely about the rest of the film. So we're talking about witches. This is a witch film where it turns out the head teachers at the school are a coven, and they basically just keep killing people they don't like. Anyone who discovers what they are, they kill. Anyone who upsets them, they kill. Like the blind man, his dog attacks the kid, because the kid's part of the coven as well. So it's like the dog sensed evil, so they do a spell on the dog to attack the blind man.
I always forget that there's like this weird little, I don't know, kid.
Yeah, him and the servant, who's kind of like their Igor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of small characters like that. But
I think that's probably one of the like big moments that stands out to me, though. Just the dog ripping out the blind man's throat. Just like as he's walking home, and it's like that one isn't very colorful, but it is like a really beautiful shot where he's just kind of in this. I assume it's probably a well-known place in I don't know if they actually filmed in Germany or if they just filmed in Italy and said it was Germany, but just like all like the kind of steps and stuff.
It's a big open plaza somewhere.
But it just looks like so creepy at night when there's like nothing else around, and then the dog really just ripping into his throat. It is very beautiful.
Yeah, because the first one we get is the when Susie first arrives, she sees this other character, Pat, running from the school. She's been expelled and she's running back to her home, and we see her kind of like extended murder scene where there is actually a killer with really hairy arms. I don't know if that was meant to be the Igor dude or if that was just like their spell summoned something, because it looked almost not human.
That's true. I always assumed it was like their servant, kind of, that they probably have some thrall over him that he just does whatever they want.
Because he definitely tries to kill people later with a switchblade, so he definitely does that. from time to time. But this scene's so weird to me because there's like this thing where she's pulled against the window from the outside, and then she's outside, and because the building has this kind of like it's like a skylight on like a roof that's in the middle, but there's like more building on the sides, so it's like, you know, you can go out onto the roof in the middle, and he ends up like stabbing her, throwing her through the skylight, and she's falling, but she also gets like hung with a noose. Yeah, as she like lands. It's a very over the top scene, but it's a big opening death scene to be like, oh, okay, we can do this sort of stuff, all right.
And of course, like, it looks really pretty because the, you know, skylight is made out of like stained glass, so you know, it's all like this really, you know, it's all very colorful, you know, even though it's very gruesome. Yeah,
it's very you know, bright primary colors, all the glass. So like that's a big bombastic opening, but then it slows down a little bit, and then it's not until you get to the dog stuff, which is quite a bit later in the movie. Like, you go a while before you get to the next.
It feels longer.
Yeah, and then the other big one is the main friend Sarah, who she's a roommate with.
Yeah,
she like has been kind of investigating. She's been kind of suspicious. And the witches are clearly onto her because they send Igor. I'm calling him that. I don't know what his name is, but they send him after her, and we get this extended sequence of her sneaking about the house or the boarding school, scared, getting very colourful. These blues, and she finds the attic, and eventually it becomes this chase away from him, and she gets slashed to death. But it's quite a long sequence. This is probably a good 10-minute sequence from when she starts like kind of getting scared to when she's finally killed. It's a good 10-minute sequence of like build and suspense of getting to that.
And this is when she falls in the is it barbed wire?
I think it's meant to be barbed wire, but if I'm going to critique this scene, it's clearly not barbed. Like,
yeah,
you can clearly see that there's no actual little things on it. It's just wire.
Yeah. Like, I think it still looks cool, but yeah, it's like I don't know. I guess even if it didn't have barbs on it, if it was like really sharp metal, it could still cut you and stuff.
Yeah. So, if nothing else, she's tangled in it, which you know, makes her vulnerable. But
when you're trying to run, it's scary. Yeah.
Yeah. But it did take me out the moment a little second because I thought, is that meant to be barbed? Because I'm sure you can get fake barbed wire that movies have used before, where they have something on it to look at the little, you know, barbed bits, but.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's a fun sequence, and it ends with death. Other than that, there's this, you know, the main character constantly getting kind of sick. It's kind of implied that they're making her weak with the food, and there's a whole section in the middle where like all these maggots fall from the ceiling, and they all have to sleep in the dance hall for a night. Which I thought more would happen with that, because you know they're in like all these beds just laid out, and there's a big like curtain up to separate the boys and the girls.
You dirty pig.
What?
Well, all the girls going to sleep in these beds. I thought something more would happen with that. Come on, man.
First of all, not just the girls, the boys on the other side of the curtain. And I meant in a horror sense, not in a sex sense, you tit.
Sure.
Because for some reason, this room is lit by a red light. Again, there's no explanation. It's just everything's red for some reason in this hall at night time. Yeah. And you see like the shadows.
You've never been to a dance studio.
Would they all have red lights? They're all just decked in red?
Sure.
Okay, sure. But through the curtain, you see the shadows of like, the boys on the other side, and it was, you know, I thought, oh, something creepy is going to happen with the shadows or something. You know, there's going to be something behind the curtain, and there never really was anything all that much.
Yeah.
What's that smirk?
Curtains in general are scary.
Curtains in general are scary. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with you sometimes, Tim. I don't know. So those are kind of the big set pieces throughout. Outside, of course, the ending where Susie refuses to take her food, and she actually sneaks around. She sneaks past the butcher lady with a big cleaver, who does all the food, and she sneaks into the hidden area. Tim's face just got really big because Skype has decided his connection's gotten weaker.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Tim. It'll fix itself.
What is that? That's Skype's answer for when something bad is happening. Is better zoom in.
Yeah, for some reason, when it wants to give me a message at the top, it does this thing where it zooms into the video when it does it. Even though you never actually cut out there at all, it just did it on its own and went back to normal. So For the video people, you get these extreme close-ups sometimes. Just love with it, I guess.
So avant-garde.
We're being experimental. So it's a sequence where she sneaks past and she gets into the witch's coven area, right, the secret area, and it's a great little sequence because she's sneaking up and she's like seeing like the headmistress through the door, and then she's like, it basically confirms everything we've been thinking, that she's the head witch, and she's like, oh hey, I want that American girl dead. We have to kill her, get rid of her. And then she backs into another room and she finds the dead body of her friend. And at this point, Igor's kind of suspecting something, so he's got his switchblade out and he's kind of looking for her. And that's kind of it. There's a couple of really good moments though, where like you see like eyes in the background before like he comes out. Like that happens with the friend earlier, and then it happens kind of again here. But then the actual kind of final showdown, as it were, is that the room she's been into to hide is actually the room where the original witch who founded the school was, because she was mentioned in the back. The exposition dump from Udo Kier mentioned this. What was it? The black something. The black wasn't the Black Witch. It was the black.
I don't know.
But it was the witch who founded the school, and it's like she's actually kind of immortal. Everyone thought she was dead, but she's still kind of here, and she possesses the friend Sarah, and basically Susie just kind of says, "Oh, I'll stab this sort of like almost ghost that's on the bed." She can kind of
she sees there's like a little bit of an outline that's kind of flashing.
So she stabs her, and that makes her die. And then the place goes up in flames and she runs out. And there's actually, because I actually thought for a second, like, wait, what about all the other students? Aren't they dying? But there was a line earlier on that explained all the other students get taken on like a field trip or something like that. So
nice.
no one else died. Only the witches in the coven died. But the movie ends with her character running out the building, and she's in the rain. But unlike the start of the movie, she smiles in the rain. She is welcoming to the rain because it's real and like yes.
Yeah. I like this ending sequence. It is very abrupt, and it kind of feels like, oh, all of a sudden like we're doing this, but it is really weird and trippy. I like all this stuff where it's like there's these secret doors that she's going in, and then like then there's this mirror and there's disembodied voices saying like, oh, you're about to enter like the land of the dead, and then you got this reanimated zombie. Like there's a lot going on in the end, but I like it. It's all really weird and trippy, and I don't know, I kind of wish maybe there's a little bit of more crazy stuff like this in the movie. I
think that's my thing, is I just wish there was a bit more, even just at the ending. Like I wish, like, because I feel like the head witch, the head mistress, she never really even finds out what's happening. We never get to see the reaction that they've been defeated or that they're screwed or whatever. We just run out with her. It feels like there's just something missing in the climax in that sense. But no, I mean, it's all very pretty and well done. Like again, the direction, the style kind of makes it all quite engrossing. So I don't want to sound too harsh, because I actually do quite like a lot of this movie. It just there's just like, it feels like there could be some more. It feels like they could have done more with this idea, with the premise, more with the setup. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like every time I watch this movie, I enjoy it, but I don't watch it all the time. Like it's not like something like, oh man, every year I gotta watch it at least once. It's like, maybe every 5 years or something. But when I do watch it, I don't have any complaints. But I think maybe if there was just a little bit more kind of in the middle or something, that maybe was my camera like going all crazy.
I'm being experimental. I'm moving Tim around.
Oh, you're moving it.
Yeah,
okay, I didn't know. I don't know if that was Skype.
Here today, gone tomorrow. Here today, gone tomorrow.
Okay.
I was actually fixing you because you're actually a little bit off center, and I thought, I should probably fix that.
Okay.
And I thought I'll just keep playing with it. It's fine.
Yeah. I forget the point I was making. I mean, it basically though, it's like, no, it's just, I think if there, I like it, but I think if there was maybe a few more stuff, kind of, again, like you said, we don't need a huge body count. It's not like we need 50 deaths or whatever, but if there's just maybe a few more kind of like weird or creepy stuff sprinkled throughout, instead of just kind of, that big scene in the beginning, and then, the kind of the stuff more towards the end, I think maybe, this would be something I'd be a lot more hype about, and maybe something that I'd be like, oh yeah, like yeah, I gotta watch it like once a year or something. But I don't know. Obviously, like you said, yeah, I still like it as well, and it is very visually compelling, and of course the music, like Goblin, just they that feels like a band that was basically born just to do horror movie soundtracks. Like it fits so well
Yeah.
with the movie. But yeah, like everything comes together real nicely. So
Yeah.
yeah, don't want to be too harsh.
Yeah, I think every time I watch it, I basically go, why is this the one that gets heralded as Argento's masterpiece? The one that's, seen as the
Yeah.
classic, the one that's always mentioned first, when I feel like, Tenebri, Bird with the Crystal Plumage, like, there's other movies that he's done that I think are better and superior in almost
Yeah.
every way. So it's kind of weird to me when I watch it, because I feel like, I kind of want to be the guy who, has the hot take here, because I don't quite
Like
agree with it, but
well, yeah, and you don't want to rag on something, like you don't want to sound like you're ragging on it just because it's popular. Like actually,
yeah.
it's his worst movie. This one's his best. Like yeah, you don't want to be that guy.
It's not. It's not even close to his worst movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not seen Dracula 3D or whatever you always bring up, but
it's insane. We'll probably have to do it at one point, but it is. I don't even know if I made it all the way through.
yeah,
It is crazy.
I definitely like this way more than Inferno, because I didn't like Inferno when I watched it. So
We'll have to rewatch it because I don't think I was as harsh on it as you. But I mean, I agree. It's not like something that was like, oh my god, this is awesome. But and I just remember really liking the ending. And then the third part of the trilogy, again, I'm pretty sure that's called Mother of Tears. But I think that came out in like maybe early mid 2000s. It's supposed to be pretty bad. I don't think. Here's the thing, like, yeah, 70s to like 1990 Argento is pretty dang good. Well, I don't know about what he did for the rest of the 90s, but anything after the 2000s, Argento's maybe a little sketchy.
yeah, Mother of Tears is one of those. Giallo, Dracula 3D, The Card Player, Sleepless.
Okay.
Some interesting things. Yeah, it's interesting. So, yes, it's the 70s and 80s are basically the ones you think of. I've never seen opera. I've never seen the 5 days. What's the 5 days? I've never even heard of that, I think.
I don't think I've heard of that.
Oh, it's a comedy, that's why.
Oh. Yeah, I saw opera back in the day. I don't remember too much about it. I do remember liking Deep Red. Probably have to do that at some point. Yeah, some of the earlier stuff I haven't seen, like Crystal, whatever.
Yeah,
Crystal Bird Plumage, blah blah blah.
Crystal Plumage, Cat o' Nine Tails, Deep Red, Tenebri are kind of the ones that I think of. That I like. Those are the Argento movies I like. I mean, I like Phenomena. I've only seen Phenomena once, so I don't want to.
I love it, but I am a sucker for chimps. There's a chimp in it that I just love. He's like one of my favorite cinematic characters.
Oh dear. Are you reading Justice League Dark, Tim? Because Detective Chimp's a prominent character in there, and I feel like you'd probably in love with it.
I do love Detective Chimp. I haven't read it yet. I will. Hopefully, I'll try to catch up soon. I did just read the. When I was on vacation, I had a long flight back, so I read a lot of digital comics in it. So I finally got to read Dark Knight's Metal, which obviously Detective Chimp has a pretty prominent role, I guess, in the end there. But I did enjoy him there.
We've somehow started talking about Detective Chimp, which is probably a good sign that we should rate this and wrap it up.
Actually, there was a actually, I was kind of thinking about this for the actually the next movie we're gonna do, but I also read the first volume of Snyder's Justice League stuff, and there's actually like a really horrific moment in I think it was the beginning of one of the issues with Gorilla Grodd when he has like a flashback about like him torturing this like hunter he met and just like forcing him to like continuously dance until like he's like his feet like wear down to like muscle and bones and stuff, and it was like it really disturbed me.
Yeah. Scott Snyder can be pretty dark when he feels like it. So no, Suspiria. What are we going to rate this out of 10, Timmy?
This is actually like a pretty hard one because again, like it's like you feel like you kind of want to rate it higher because it's like considered to be such a masterpiece, but I don't know, some people might think this is too low, but I think I'm gonna go with a 7.5. Still like a pretty high score, but most of that is just kind of giving it up again for like the visuals, the music, and everything. I think yeah, it just needed a little bit more like plot wise or character wise to really get me to be like, oh, it's a great masterpiece kind of level. But yeah, I think 7.5 is what I'm gonna have to go with.
Yeah. I actually just saw what rating I gave it the last time I watched it. I gave it a 7, and I think I'm going to stick with that. I think
Yeah.
it's a good movie because of the style, because of the colors, because of the music, cinematography, all that stuff. But like you say, characters could be better. I mean, either the characters need to be better and more engaging, the plot has to be more intricate and more interesting, or it needs to be more consistent with its crazy kill scenes. Because
Yeah.
we would be into that. Like if it was just crazy kill scene after crazy kill scene.
Oh yeah.
I think we'd probably be feeling quite good about it, with this style. But no, they're a little bit few and far between. So 7 out of 10. So it's good, but I do have problems with it. I don't think it is his best film. So
Yeah.
there you go.
I agree.
Suspiria. So we'll be doing a remake soon. You can look out for that. Obviously, we're doing other films as well. You can support Screams After Midnight if you wish to. You can go to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, and you can support us for as little as $1 per month. So thank you very much for watching or listening. Like, subscribe, all that usual stuff. That also helps us out, of course. Let us know what you think of the movie in the comments below. But otherwise, that's thank you once again. We'll see you next time. Keep watching scary movies, guys. Goodbye.